Hello, my name is Eric Wong, and I'm the Portfolio Manager for Fidelity International. The next wave of shining stars for the fixed income asset class is emerging market corporate debt. It has huge hidden investment opportunities. There are a number of reasons why we're constructive on this asset class. First of all, we continue to see a strong fundamental recovery. Second of all, we continue to see benefit from the rate cuts that we'll see across many countries in emerging markets. Third of all, we continue to see strong potential returns for emerging market corporate debt compared to other asset classes. As a result, we believe these will be the key drivers that will continue to support emerging market corporate debt in the coming years. Regarding the first point on fundamental recovery, we actually believe the fundamentals of emerging markets have bottomed out and have recovered since the middle of 2015. For example, from a top-down perspective, we can see that emerging markets PMI have continued to go higher on the back of a strong recovery in the global economy. This is not something we've seen since 2011. At the same time, from a bottom-up perspective, we see that the earnings of emerging market companies have also rebounded. Again, this is not something we've seen for a while, and this strong growth in earnings is really driven by the global recovery. Regarding the second point on the benefit of rate cuts, we're actually starting to see diverging monetary policy between developed markets and emerging markets. For example, on one hand, in the US, we're starting to see the Federal Reserve raise interest rates, gradually at 25 basis point increment. But on the other hand, we're starting to see emerging markets cut interest rates. We saw this in 2016 with countries like India and Indonesia, and we're starting to see it again in 2017 with other countries like Brazil and Russia. In fact, some of these countries have been very aggressive at cutting interest rates, up to 100 basis points each time. We believe this is very beneficial for emerging market corporate debt investors. Regarding the third point on strong potential returns, we can look at two metrics: yield to maturity and spreads. If we look at the yield to maturity of emerging market corporate bonds, we can see that it is a lot higher than that of US corporate bonds. At the same time, if we look at the spreads of emerging market corporate bonds, we can see that it is a lot wider than US corporate bonds. Therefore, both metrics show emerging market corporate debt continues to offer very attractive valuations against US corporate bonds. Emerging market corporate debt is a very exciting asset class. In the last couple of years, we've seen an incredible turnaround and recovery. The fundamentals of emerging markets continue to be very supportive, especially as central banks continue to cut interest rates in emerging markets. Last but not least, whether you look at yield to maturity or spreads, the valuations remain very supportive in emerging market corporate debt. Emerging market corporate debt will continue to shine against other fixed income asset classes for years to come. Thank you very much for watching.
投资一定有风险，基金投资有赚有赔，申购前应详阅公开说明书或投资人须知。